The cargo bay of the Resolute Dawn smelled of metal, ozone, and stale rations. For most of the crew, the scent was normal, almost invisible. But for Asha, it was suffocating. She kept to the shadows, her tall Zalari frame bent low, her silver-blue scales dulled by exhaustion. She rarely spoke. Most didn't notice her, or if they did, they looked away. A refugee, a stray passenger rescued from a burned-out freighter, she had nothing to offer except silence. Silence was safer. Silence meant she wouldn't be reminded of the life she had lost, the home world where cooking fires once warmed the night, where her people gathered in laughter around spice-filled meals. Now all that was gone. And still, she was hungry. Not just for food, though the human ration packs were bland and chalky, but for purpose. The crew's mess hall was crowded that evening. Humans laughed, voices loud, plates clattering. Asha slipped in quietly, clutching the corner of her shawl. She sat at the far end, picking at the pale nutrient block on her tray. The humans devoured theirs without complaint. But Asha's tongue longed for flavor, for warmth, for something real. A voice startled her. "You don't eat much, do you?" She looked up. A man stood across the table, tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and steady eyes. His name was Captain Elias Ward, the human who had ordered her rescue weeks ago. She hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't talk much." He studied her for a moment, then gestured to the untouched food. "Not hungry." Asha swallowed. "This food. It fills the stomach, but it does not live." He raised a brow, intrigued. "Does not live." Her hands trembled, but she forced herself to speak. Food must carry memory, flavor, spirit. It must speak, even when mouths are silent. Human rations, they are stone. The crew around them chuckled, but Elias didn't. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You sound like someone who knows food." Asha's eyes flickered. A memory of her mother teaching her to grind spices flashed through her mind. She nearly turned away, but something inside her broke free. "I can cook," she whispered. The words hung in the air. Her scales flushed with embarrassment. She had revealed too much. But instead of laughing, Elias gave her a slow smile. "Then you should." That night, Elias brought her into the ship's small galley. It was a cold, mechanical place, metal counters, automated dispensers, shelves stacked with ration packs. No warmth, no soul. Asha touched the surface of a counter with reverence. "You call this a kitchen?" she murmured. Elias crossed his arms, amused. "It's kept us alive so far." She shook her head. "Alive, yes, but not living." He gestured. "Show me the difference." Her fingers worked carefully, opening ration packs, mixing them in ways the humans never thought to try. She crushed dried herbs from her satchel, tiny remnants she had saved from her ruined home. She blended flavors with instinct, simmering them in the galley's heating units, coaxing aroma from lifeless paste. Soon, the sterile air filled with scents none aboard had known before, warm spices, savory depth, sweetness that made the mouth water. Crew members drifted in, noses lifted, eyes wide. "What is that?" one asked. Asha stirred the pot, silent. Words weren't needed. The food spoke. When it was ready, she set bowls before them. Humans who had eaten bland cubes for months tasted flavor that bloomed across their tongues. "This," one whispered, stunned. "This tastes like home, but I don't even know why." Elias took his own spoonful. The moment the warmth touched his tongue, he closed his eyes. He was back in his grandmother's kitchen on Earth, where stews simmered for hours and laughter filled the air. He opened his eyes, looking at Asha in wonder. "You brought life into this ship." Asha lowered her gaze, scales shimmering faintly. I told you. I don't talk much, but I can cook. Days turned into weeks. Every night, the crew gathered in the mess hall not just to eat, but to share. Asha cooked, and in her cooking, she told stories of Zalari feasts, of lost traditions of family. She spoke little, but through her food, the humans learned who she was. Elias often watched her as she worked. There was grace in her movements, reverence in her care. He noticed the way her hands shook less with each meal, the way her scales began to shine again. One evening, as the crew laughed over a spice stew she had crafted, Elias sat across from her. "You've changed this ship," he said quietly. Asha tilted her head. "I only cook." "No," he said. "You gave us something more important than food. You gave us reason to sit together. To remember we're more than soldiers or traders, we're people." She looked at him then, truly looked. His eyes were warm, steady, carrying no mockery, no pity, only respect. Her throat tightened. "On my world," she said softly, "to be invited into another's kitchen, it means family." Elias smiled. "Then welcome home." But not all looked kindly on her presence. During a stop at a trading outpost, a group of mercenaries mocked the humans for keeping a useless alien cook. One spat on the ground. She should be scrubbing floors, not wasting fuel on soup. Before Asha could shrink away, Elias stepped forward, voice firm. "You'll eat her food once and understand. Or walk away hungry." The mercenary scoffed, until one tasted a spoonful of her stew. Silence followed. Then another demanded a bowl. Then another. By the end of the night, the outpost tavern echoed with laughter and praise. Asha's cooking had won them all, and the mercenaries never mocked her again. Months later, as the resolute Dawn orbited a frontier colony, Elias found Asha in the galley. She was kneading dough, her hands steady, her expression peaceful. "You've built something here," he said quietly. She glanced up. "It is not mine alone. Food is never for one. It is for all." He stepped closer. "Still, you gave it to us. You gave it to me." Her scales flushed silver blue. She looked down, shy. "I don't talk much, human." But she hesitated, then whispered, "You listened anyway." Elias reached for a piece of warm bread, breaking it in half. He offered her the larger piece. "Then let's keep listening. Together." She took it, her hands brushing his. For the first time in years, Asha smiled. The legend of the silent Zalari cook spread across the frontier. Colonists spoke of the alien who rarely spoke but whose food healed hearts, whose meals turned strangers into family. And on the resolute Dawn, every night in the galley, humans and aliens gathered not just to eat, but to live. Because one human looked at her, saw not a refugee, not a burden, but a cook, and invited her into his kitchen. And that invitation had changed everything.